Someone's gonna have to call the fire brigade, because once you use this unbelievably awesome build for the Sorceress, you're gonna be lit! I hate myself. Welcome everybody, my name is Rusty Pilover, ginger streamer, professional hyper screamer, entertainer extraordinaire. And welcome to the Fire Sorcerer / Sorceress build for Diablo 4. Now, before I get into it, I will say a lot of the Sorceress skills might be nerfed, so we are still theory crafting. We're still not going to be putting too many items in here, although we do have some updates to the Diablo 4 builder. Link in the description as well as in the pinned comment for you to go and check out this particular build. And as always, if you did enjoy this, let me know what your Fire Sorceress build is going to be, or if you have a particular other build that you like for the Sorceress. So, as usual, our skills are broken down into these particular things, which is basic, core, defensive, conjuration, mastery, ultimate, and key passive. So the goal of this build is to fully use every single fire skill that we possibly can, as well as using the enchantment slots to further enhance our fire damage output. Now I've also put in a lot of aspects and everything has been updated, and I will release a separate video covering the Paragon board. But let's get into this build and see how much fire damage we can put out. So for our basic skill, we are going to be using Fire Bolt, lucky hit chance 20%, hurl a flaming bolt, dealing 10% damage and burning for 40% damage over 8 seconds. And to further enhance that, we are going to go with Enhanced Firebolt. Firebolt pierces through burning enemies. And in this next upgrade, we either have a choice of Flickering Firebolt. Firebolt generates 2 mana when hitting a burning enemy. Or Glinting Firebolt. Critical strikes with Firebolt increase the burning damage you deal to the enemy by times 20% for 4 seconds. In our core skill, we are going to go with Fireball. Mana cost 40. Lucky hit chance 33%. Hurl an exploding ball of fire, dealing 60% damage to surrounding enemies. And our upgrade options are Enhanced Fireball. Fireball's radius is increased based on distance traveled up to 50%. Greater Fireball. Fireball deals 10% of the burning damage you've applied to enemies as additional direct damage. And Destructive Fireball. Fireball's explosions critical strike damage is increased by plus 10%. Each enemy it hits increases this bonus by plus 5% up to plus 25% total. And our enchantment slot, we will be using Incinerate. Enchantment effect: every 20 seconds a serpent spawns and incinerates enemies for 6 seconds. So the reason we're going with Incinerate for our passive is just to have that extra little bit of damage in the backline, so that you can focus on hurling your fireballs and your firebolts while something else is dealing damage. Now, while I don't know if the enhancements do affect Incinerate for the passive enchantment effect, I don't believe it does. I believe that the enchantment does what it says, and I don't think there's anything that further enhances that, but we may have items that could further enhance that. Let me know down below if I'm wrong, and I will adjust. For our defensive, we are going to go with Flame Shield. Cooldown 20 seconds, lucky hit chance 50%. Engulf yourself in flames for 2 seconds, burning surrounding enemies for 23.4% damage per second. While Flame Shield is active, you are immune. To further upgrade Flame Shield, we're going to go with Enhanced Flame Shield. Flame Shield grants plus 25% movement speed while active. Mystical Flame Shield, you gain 25% mana cost reduction while Flame Shield is active. Shimmering Flame Shield. Flame Shield heals you for 50% of your missing life. Under our conjuration tree, our enchantment is going to be Hydra. After spending 300 mana, a 5-headed Hydra spawns for 5 seconds. And to further upgrade, we are going to go with Conjuration Mastery. You deal times 1% increased damage for each active conjuration. So our conjuration and our defensive skills are going to allow us to not only be able to walk through enemies, be immune to certain things, but also deal damage. And as you can see, once you spend 300 mana, having 5 Hydra heads casting a whole bunch of stuff, while you also have serpents casting Incinerate in the background, is really going to further enhance the amount of damage over time that we're doing with burning. And as you can see, most of these skills allow you to do that kind of thing, and it's going to be absolutely great to watch your enemies smolder and burn into a bunch of piling, smoking skeletons for your viewing pleasure. Under our mastery, we are going to go with Meteor, mana cost 40, lucky hit chance 40%. Summon a meteor that strikes the target location, dealing 50% damage and burning the ground for 35% damage over 3 seconds. To further upgrade Meteor, we are going to go with Enhanced Meteor. If a cast of Meteor hits 3 or more enemies, there's a 30% chance an additional Meteor falls on the same location. Wizard's Meteor. Meteor's impact immobilizes enemies for 2 seconds. And Mage's Meteor. Meteor falls 30% faster. And for our enchantment slot, we are going to go with Firewall. Each time an enemy takes burning damage, there's a 5% chance to spawn 2 firewalls underneath them for 3 seconds. So with our mastery skills, our big damage dealer is going to be Meteor. Now, I wouldn't have put it in the enchantment slot basically because it takes quite a long time for Meteor to actually be effective based on some of the tests done. But however, if you want to go and swap them around, you can. I'm going for this particular build to make sure that Meteor is on the forefront of dealing damage. We want to do as much fire damage as possible, and Meteor covering quite a bit of ground, allowing you to run through enemies, chase them through into the burning ground of Meteor, is going to do quite a bit of delicious damage. For our ultimate, we are going to go with Inferno. Summon a fiery serpent that continually constricts the target area, burning enemies for 295% damage over 8 seconds. And to further enhance that, we are going to go with Prime Inferno. Inferno repeatedly pulls enemies to its center. And Supreme Inferno, while Inferno is active, your pyromancy skills cost no mana. And to further upgrade our ultimate skills, we're going to go with Fiery Surge. Killing a burning enemy increases your mana regeneration by plus 10% for 3 seconds. Soulfire. After standing still for 1.5 seconds, your pyromancy skills cost 5% less mana. Endless Pyre. You deal increased burning damage to enemies for each second they remain burning, up to times 5% after 5 seconds. And Warmth. Every 1 second, you heal for 0.3% of your maximum life for each nearby burning enemy. Healing increased to 0.6% from bosses. And finally, our key passive, we are going to go with Combustion. Your burning effects deal times 2% increased damage per unique source of burning you have applied to the enemy. If the enemy is burning from 3 or more sources, this bonus is doubled. So as you can see, I have gone for a max burning damage output build. Now I'd like to know, what would you change in these skills? What would you put in your enchantment slots? What wouldn't you put in your enchantment slots? And as always, this is a kind of eggs in one basket kind of build. So if you do run into fire resistant or immune enemies, you are going to have a little bit of a problem. So I would say skill something else just in the meantime. But if you're going for a pure Fire Sorceress build, this is the way to go. But we're not done. To further upgrade our Sorceress, we are going to go with some aspects. Now, these are subdivided into offensive, defensive, utility, resource, and mobility. And bear with me, the aspects are quite a lot for the Sorceress, so please take this into consideration, that aspects, I believe, only work with a few of your armor pieces, so you may not be able to use all of them, but this is more for your choice. I'm just going to list what I think would work best for your Sorceress in all trees, and then you make that decision and let me know which one is your favorite. Under your offensive aspects, we are going to go with aspects of Conflagration. While channeling Incinerate, your burning damage is increased by times 20 to 30%. Aspect of Engulfing Flames. While enemies are affected by more damage over time than their total life, you deal times 30 to 40% increased burning damage to them. Aspect of Armageddon. A hail of meteorites fall during Inferno, dealing 102.5 to 125 fire damage on impact. Your meteorites immobilize enemies for 3 seconds. Aspect of Shattered Stars. Meteorites fall around Meteor, dealing 75 to 100 fire damage on impact. Your meteorites additionally burn enemies they hit for 225 to 300 damage over 6 seconds. Aspect of 3 curses. Meteor deals times 35 to 50% increased critical strike damage against healthy targets. Elementalist's aspect. Core or mastery skills cast at or above 100 mana gain a plus 20 to 40% increased critical strike chance. Serpentine aspect. You may have 1 additional Hydra active, but Hydra's duration is reduced by 20 to 25%. Flame Scar. While channeling Incinerate, you periodically shoot embers that are attracted to enemies, each dealing 50 to 100 fire damage. And Gloves of the Illuminator. Fireball now bounces as it travels, exploding each time it hits the ground, but its explosion deals 65 to 75% less damage. Under our defensive aspects, we are going to go with Aspect of Disobedience. You gain times 0.25 to 0.5% increased armor for 4 seconds when you deal any form of damage, stacking up to times 25 to 50%. Aspect of Might. Basic skills grant 25% damage reduction for 4 to 8 seconds. And Aspect of Deflecting Barrier. While you have a barrier active, there is a 20 to 30% chance to ignore incoming direct damage from distant enemies. Under Utility, we are going to go with Aspect of Binding Embers. Flame Shield lets you move unhindered through enemies. Enemies you move through while Flame Shield is active are immobilized for 2 to 3 seconds. Aspect of Singed Extremities. After Immobilize wears off, enemies are slowed by 25 to 35% for 4 seconds. And Harlequin Crest. Gain 5 to 8% damage reduction. In addition, gain plus 2 ranks to all skills. Your resource. Aspect of Efficiency. Casting a basic skill reduces the mana cost of your next core skill by 10 to 20%. Incendiary Aspect. Lucky hit. Burning damage has up to a 5 to 10% chance to restore 10 mana. And Starlight Aspect. Gain 10 to 20 of your primary resource for every 20% of your life that you heal. And Mobility. Flamewalker's Aspect. Coming in contact with your firewall grants you plus 15 to 25% movement speed for 4 seconds. And there you have it. That is your Fire Sorceress build. Now, as I said, you can go and change a lot of these things. Change up your aspect, change up your skills, but these are going to be the skills that we want. And as you can see, there is quite a bit of damage expanding from Meteor to Hydra. There's a lot of things that you can tweak in this build that will allow you to maybe flex a little bit. Maybe you want to go more into the Conjuration instead of the Meteor skill. I went with Meteor because there's nothing nicer watching a giant meatball coming out the sky, landing everywhere, and just setting things on fire. But I want to know, which skills do you like of the Fire Sorceress? Let me know down below how you are building your Fire Sorceress. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy that. If you did, please consider liking the video. And if you did enjoy that, you know what to do to find more Diablo 4 content. Let me know down below what you thought of this build, if there's anything that you'd like to change. And let me know, are you going to be a walking pillar of fire on the battlefield, just setting everything alight and getting that beautiful smoking barbecue of singed flesh in the air? Let me know down below, and until then, Sanctuary awaits.